Hey, what's going on, y'all? Sean here, and I kind of want to talk about sun exposure. The reason why I chose to talk about it this morning is because I just saw on my tablet that with the forecast, or actually here on my laptop when I think about it, that today is gonna be maybe the hottest day of the year. You know, with the heat index and all that kind of stuff, supposed to be over 110 or whatever, which is just insane. It's been a hot year. It's been a hot year. And so I thought about that, and it made me think about sun exposure and the importance of it. I listened to this episode of Diary of a CEO with, and I think I mentioned something about this last week. But Dr. Roger Schultz, Sheheult, he talks about vitamin D, sunlight, and all that kind of stuff. And one thing that he pointed out, which I want you guys to really make sure you understand, is that when we think about sun exposure, we think about the importance of sun exposure for optimal vitamin D production. Excuse me, I'm tired. Um, but but the thing is, according to what he was talking about, vitamin D is only one of the benefits of sun exposure. There's also a benefit of the regulation of our internal clocks. Apparently, whenever sunlight goes and hits your retinas, that kind of it helps your body to kind of like set its clock properly. In particular, whenever you get sunlight in the morning time. Now, when you get artificial light in the evening, that can mess your clock up, or like, like lights like these screens that we look at and whatnot. But that's one benefit. Um, and then also just a regulator of mood. There's something called seasonal affective disorder, SAD, sad, and it's associated with stuff like depression whenever people don't get enough sunlight. And then even sun hitting our skin, it's not just producing vitamin D, it's other things that are happening as well. Now, I can't recall if he talked a lot about that, but I know he talked a little bit about or suggested it that when sunlight hits your skin, it's not just helping with the synthesis of vitamin D. It has other benefits perhaps that we're still learning about. But it's so important for us because, even if you just consider vitamin D, very protective whenever you consider, you know, a lot of different kind of diseases, or viral illness, like your body's ability to fight viral illness and to regulate inflammation and different things like that. So obviously, with it being a hot, so hot where I am here in the Southeast United States, you need to be careful when you go out there, especially if you go out between the hours of 11 and 3 o'clock, if I'm not mistaken. It just so happens, though, of course, that's when the sun is highest in the sky. And it's also whenever you can get the optimal vitamin D production based on the angling of the sun. So you'll get a lot of vitamin D production, from being in the sun in those times, but you got to be careful too. But y'all, we got to get in the sun. The thing is, a lot of us are barely there. And I know me as a black person, we often would, you know, I heard many people, and I may have even said it myself, saying stuff to the effect of, I don't want to be out there in the sun too much. I don't want to get any quote blacker. And now that's a very distasteful thing to me, because I don't like that kind of phraseology anymore. I think that we need to not do that. But at the same time though, you do need to be mindful. You don't want to go out there and burn your skin, especially the lighter skin you are. If you have extra melanin in your skin, like I do, then it doesn't you're not burned as easily, but you can still burn. But then there's also the element of heat, the way that the heat is here in the southeast US. You don't want to get out there and get heat exhaustion, heat stroke, and whatnot. So be careful. But we're not designed to be inside as much as we are. We're just not. And I think it once we really understand that, then that's really going to be the thing that'll help us to be our best. You know, where we demystify it and even kind of take some of the science out and just understand we weren't really made to be inside as like we are. So anyway, that's for what it's worth. I'm passionate about things like that's why I talk about it and sometimes talk about it repeatedly. Let me know you guys' thoughts. Make sure you go outside and whatnot. And also remember if you want to see the other part of this, which will include live question and answers from a certified personal trainer, myself, then you'll want to make sure that you go to patreon.com/Sean BTB Fitness. And that way you better sign up and among other things, be able to take part in my fitness mindset mornings and my workout library that I have on there and all that kind of good stuff. All right, have a good one. If you're 35 to 50 years old and wanting to lose weight, get stronger, and become more athletic, but you keep finding yourself hitting roadblocks like aches and pains, stuck at the same weight, lack of motivation, even wondering if your fitness goal is impossible to reach, I got something for you. My exclusive fitness support consists of my daily fitness mindset mornings every weekday morning, where I teach you the mindset that fit people use to achieve high levels of health and fitness, and where you can ask me your specific health and fitness questions so that you can finally get unstuck. You also get access to my video workout library, as well as my fat loss workbook, fitness journal, and other helpful fitness related downloads we have available on our Patreon. If that sounds good to you and you're ready to change your mind so that you can finally change your body, your health, and your life, join us now at patreon.com/Sean B2B Fitness.